friends, welcome to GT Coding. In this video we are going to create this header, this sticky header which changes the style when we scroll up or down. So when we scroll up, this has a completely different style and it transitions into that style, and when we scroll all the way up it changes back to the original style. So let's get started. First of all, create HTML5, so we'll name it animated sticky header, and I'll just open it with live server. So first of all, I will link my style file, so style.css, and I will also link my main.js file over here. So I have those two files linked up. Now let's create our HTML structure. So first of all, we have a nav with an ID of main nav, and in that we will have a division for our logo, and here we will have an anchor tag, and in that we will have an image. So I already have an image in my img folder, logo.png, and we will just fill up this property. So there we have our logo. Now we have a UL after this, so we have 4 list items. So here we will type UL, and in here we will have 4 list items. So they are home, FAQs, services, and about. So home, FAQs, services, and about. So we have our list items. Then we have 3 different sections. So, and in that we will type section 1, section 2, and section 3. So after that we will just add a footer, and we will type this website is designed by GT Coding. So we have our HTML markup set up. So now we will go to our style.css. So first of all, we will have box sizing to border box, and then we will have margin of 0 and padding of 0, and then in our body we will give a font family of Roboto sans serif. And now we will style our main nav. So main nav, and in here we will have a display of flex, so that we have everything in one line. So we have the logo and the navigation items on one line, and then we will have justify content to space between, and it will move them to the opposite directions. Then we will set the padding to 0 pixels, 16 pixels. Then we will have a position of fixed and a width of 100% and a top of 0 pixels and a background color of EEE, and we'll also have a transition for our background, because when we scroll down we want to have a transition, so we'll say 0.4 seconds for our background. So now we will style the sections. So section nth of type 1, which will select the first section, and here we will have a margin top of 84 pixels, and we will change the size of this image so that we can see all the other sections. So for that we will have to type main nav and dot logo img, and we will set the height to 84 pixels, and we will have a transition for our height of 0.4 seconds. So we have our sections starting from here. Now we will give a styling for all the sections in general. So we'll type section, and here we will give it a height of 300 pixels, padding of 16 pixels, and font size of 20 pixels. and for each of the odd sections we will have a different color or a different style. So here we will have to type nth of type odd. So here we will have a background color of EEE and a text color of 333. So all our odd sections will have this style applied. Now we will style the even sections. So section nth of type even, and we will give a background color of 333 and a text color of EEE. So we have styled our sections. Now we will style our footer. So here we'll type footer height of 70 pixels, display of flex, and align items to the center, justify content to the center, and background color of black, and color of the text to pink. So we have our footer styled up. So now we will style our list items. So here we will type main nav ul. So all the ULs in our main nav will have the style applied. So list style to none, so we'll get rid of the bullets. Now we will set the display to flex. Then we will align items to center, width of 400 pixels, and justify content to space around. So if you don't know about display flex, I have a separate video about flexbox. You can watch it to get the basic idea of flexbox. And one more thing we have to do in our HTML is that these are not clickable links. So if you see here, these are clickable. So we have to add an anchor tag. So we will go to our list items, and so a href hash and paste it at the end over here. So now these are anchor tags. So now here we will style our anchor tags. So main nav ULLIA, and we will give it a text decoration of none. We don't want the underline, and we will set the color of the text to 333. We'll set the font weight to 500, and we have a transition for the color to 0.4 seconds. Now we will go to our JavaScript file, and here we will write the code to do some things when we scroll. So first of all, we have to access the window object. So we'll type window, and there's a method called add event listener, which is used to check whether something is happening on our HTML document and act according to that. So here for our listener, we will type scroll. So there are so many options over here. So we'll type scroll, and then we will have a function which should be executed when we have a scroll event detected. So here we'll create a constant and name it logo image, and it should be document. So we will access our logo image. So query selector, and in here we can type dot logo img. So it will get this image over here in our logo image, and then we will have another constant named main nav, and we will say document dot get element by id, because we have an id for our main nav. So we'll type main nav. Now we have both of these set up. So here we will write an if condition. So if window dot, so there is another property called page y offset, which lets you determine if the page is scrolled up or down. So when we are scrolled all the way up, the value of page y offset is 0. So when we scroll down, the value changes to a positive number. So here we will type if window.page y offset is greater than 0, which means that if we are scrolling down, we will change the height of our logo when we scroll down. So logo image dot style dot height equals 64 pixels, and if that is not the case, and then we have to change the height back to the default. So style dot height equals 84 pixels, which is the default. So if we now save this, we can see that when we scroll down, the size of our logo image changes. So we also have this transition effect because we have given this transition property over here for our height. So when we scroll up, we have this height changing and also the transition applied to it. So what else do we have to change? So if we go over here, when we scroll down, we also want to change the background color and also the color of these links. So for that I will show you another method. So in the same way you changed this height, you can also change the background color and the text color, but I want to show you a different approach to doing that. So in our style.css we will create a new style. So actually we will create two different styles. So first one we will call bg black. We should have a value of background color changing to 333, and then we will have one more style called txt white for the anchor tags. So we'll set the color to #EEE. So now we have to add these two classes to our HTML elements so that these changes can take place. So we will go to our main.js, and here we will type main nav. So we have already created a main nav constant and we have accessed the main nav ID from our HTML, and then we will type class list. So this is one of the properties in JavaScript, and dot add. So this will add any class that we specify over here to this element. So here we will add our class called bg black, and then we also need to add another class. So main nav dot class list dot add, and here we will add the txt white class. So we will just copy these two things and paste it over here, and here we'll just remove those classes. So if we go to our HTML document, we can see that our current lines of code are not working. So here we can just type important and the same thing over here. So now if I will save this and if I scroll down, you can see that we get the same effect that we wanted. So when we are scrolled all the way up, we get this default style, and when we scroll down, we get this style over here. So you can play around with this value and change the behavior like you want. So if we change it to 100, and if you scroll down, we get this effect when we scroll down a little bit more. So you can change these values to whatever you want. So this is basically how you create an animated sticky header or navigation using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So we are not using any external libraries like jQuery. We are doing it in pure JavaScript. I hope that you have liked this video. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below, and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.